Father Campbell's Chapel at the Crotus Pren Asylum. Hello everybody, welcome to an amazing game of Dead by Daylight. Today, we're just playing some David King while we go ahead and discuss the devs Q&A number 3 on YouTube. It's like the 1000th attempt at doing this, mainly because games just go by so quickly. The rank reset really kind of put me back in like one of those I gotta grind out of easy mode first. And oh boy, am I caught first? Now, why don't you go for the person on the generator, yeah? Thank you. I love being the person who's not doing anything, because then they don't go for me. They just hit me and then I self-care. It wastes a lot of time. But I'm not the one dying right now, am I? Fantastic. Anyway, so let's jump on to the Q&A and what happened. So we all know I already did a Wraith video in a response to the Q&A already, so that portion won't be covered in here because we already covered it. There's not honestly all that much to cover either left. I think I personally believe that we did the Wraith was probably the biggest thing to cover that was not covered. And we did a whole video on it. So the next 3 things to cover is the trapper buffing, the buff to pellets, and the nerf to Bloodlust. So let's jump on that. Now, the trapper buffing is probably one of the coolest mechanics I've seen come into play. It's odd saying that in terms of, you know, Dead by Daylight, but to be honest, I think it's a pretty nifty change. I'm very excited to see what else they can come up with because I think that's interesting. So what trapper buffing is, trapper buffering, is when a survivor is disarming a trap, the trap itself is no longer active, so a survivor could run over it. So you could essentially allow others to get by while you disarm. It's just a nifty little mechanic. Is it some gigantic buff nerf thing? No, not really. But it can definitely be interesting and used in some interesting perspectives. So with that being said, I think that's a unique and interesting add, and I wish they would add more things like that to this game, both killer and survivor-wise. Moving on to the pallet buffs, I think that one is a bit questionable, but I also understand. From a perspective of console only, killers being able to hit through pre-drop pallets is a little bullshit. I've seen some clips of like a killer going directly through an already dropped pallet and knocking someone down. I think that might be a latency issue, to be honest. But it's not a PC problem from what I can tell. I've been playing a lot of Survivor recently. I mean, when I do a late ass drop on a pallet, I deserve the late ass drop. I get hit. You know, they're close enough, they deserve the hit. To be honest, I don't think... I know it's getting stuffy. I don't think that I need a quicker drop on pallets. So what are they doing to buff the pallets? They're going to have the pallet stun immediately upon drop instead of midway in, so killers can no longer reach through, which is kind of bull crap, but you know what, whatever. We're going back to not being able to have interesting plays from the killer's perspective. Now it's going to be mostly safe. Hey, look at that. Found the hex rune. So that sucks for killers in general. They're also returning survivors stationary drop animation, which is faster than the little 360 they have to do. So that's another speed increase for survivors. Normally if you're sitting here and you drop the pallet, your character would have to spin around first, then spin around again as they drop the pallet. Looked a little silly, but it kept it a little consistent in regards to whether or not the pallet was dropped. But now that they're increasing both the speed on which the pallet drops when that stun comes, I don't know. I'm feeling like we're taking a couple steps back. And we'll get into that after the fact. I think this is like my 1000th try at making the video, and my problem is I keep wanting to talk about the whys and wins. Let me just keep going over the buffs and nerfs. So then there's the nerf to Bloodlust. Originally they weren't going to just outright nerf Bloodlust, they were going to just change values to where you have Bloodlust. You gain Bloodlust faster, but it in total is a slower amount that you would gather. So Bloodlust 3 would be given to you quickly, but it would not be as fast as Bloodlust 3 is now. Instead of giving it to you faster, they've opted to just give you lesser speed, which not sure exactly why, but I guess Bloodlust was an OP mechanic and it needs a nerf, right? So let's go ahead and cut this down. I think that killers being able to reach through the pallets as they're being dropped to exchange a hit for a stun is a fair mechanic. I think this because pallets used to be the safest, most brain-dead mechanic in the game. If you couldn't hit spacebar right, you kind of deserved death. It wasn't that hard. So looking at the game now, they took the vacuums out, and to be honest, pallets are still almost brain-dead. Granted, oh, we did it. We saved, and granted. Oh, he's going for me again. Couldn't you kill someone else your own size, you big bully? Seems like he's killing someone his own size. Man, they like to leave me alone for some reason. I guess it lets me talk, whatever. Oh, sorry, I am tired. Like I said, I've been trying this all night just to get the wording right on this, and every time I get like halfway through what I want to discuss, the game ends. As you can already see, we're down 2 gens. Anyways, so I think that it creates an interesting dynamic for killers to be able to mind game and play around pallets when they can reach through the pallet, and it just kind of feels better that way. When pallets are almost guaranteed stuns, it really takes away from a killer to be able to play that game very well and feel rewarded for that mind game, because it becomes harder to get that hit in. It's normally a stun, now you always have to run enduring to kind of combat all the bullcrap. So that's fine, that's a nerf. And then the Bloodlust one, it's just, I don't understand it. So let's talk about the problem here. And it's every time we get a good buff, which like we did with Hag and Trapper. Those were fantastic. I would want more, but I'm not gonna complain here. I like the Trapper buff. I love the Hag buff. I love everything they did. And you could tell that they were going in the right direction. A lot of people were happy. A lot of people were pissed I wasn't happier. And now you understand why I wasn't happier, because I kind of saw this portion coming. Every time we go 1 step forward, we go 2 steps back. We went forward with the pallet vacuum and the buffs. Now we're going back. We're cutting back on things. And honestly, it kind of sucks for Dead by Daylight. It's never going to hit that balance I want. God, I am tired. Holy crap. Oh, man, I am up super late trying to get this video done. And this video, I've learned for having to reword this 1,100 times, it kind of sucks. Can he mind gam me? Sir, you could have mind gammed me there and did good. Do you have bamboozle? Are you gonna bamboozle me? Oh god. No, Ed? No. I tested it with my face. Didn't work the way I wanted it to. I think I'm dead. No. Am I dead? We're gonna run this way. Am I dead yet? Am I dead yet? No. Okay. Still alive, kids. He could have bamboozled it. He got me. Anyways. Sorry. I know, not interesting. I didn't play it right, whatever. I just wanna get my thoughts out there, because everyone's like, I wanna hear it. And I've been sitting here all night like, how do I word this? I'm just unhappy with the roller coaster of emotions that Dead by Daylight takes to buff something correctly the first time and then drop the ball the next patch after. Revert the patch, fit. We just can't ever go towards balance for whatever goddamn reason. It's just not a thing we get to do. I don't even know where an exit gate's at. Is that a thing? Is one over here? I don't think there is one over here. I just saved Bill, I think. Okay. I thought the door was over here. I, again, could be wrong. I'm just kind of like sleeping this one off. All these games have been easy. We've gotten a lot of people out pretty often. Oh, I'm gonna run. I don't think a door was over here. Where was the door? It's not chasing me. I better heal, because Bill's getting out one way or another. I'd like to fully heal. So, I'm not excited about the Wraith buffs because I feel they're gonna repeat what they've done. I feel that nerfing the killers, it just serves no point. Like, who actually gets Bloodlust 3? Who does it? You have to force that stuff. I think that's what I wanted to talk about, and every time we get to this point, I think this is the one I'm gonna have to do because I am just getting too tired and I can't word my mouth correctly to do what I want it to do tonight, which is to describe to you my feelings. Which never happens. Anyways, so it's just Bloodlust 3 has to be forced. I don't understand the purpose of nerfing something that had to be so forced to even be good. It wasn't an OP mechanic. It's not a very good mechanic, but it exists to counter infinite loops if there are any left, which there's not really. There's a couple, maybe, if they have sprint burst and vigil, but then they nerfed exhaustion, so you can't do it. But you know, holy crap, there's just a lot to take in regards to why any of this is happening. But if I were to try to get Bloodlust on anybody, if I were to try to get Bloodlust on anybody, especially Bloodlust 3, which is deemed the unfair Bloodlust, I don't see how it would happen. To force it, there has to be no pallets. It has to be, oh well, sorry, no safe pallets. If there's an unsafe pallet, you can Bloodlust pretty hardcore there. But if there's a safe pallet, you just stand still on one side until they come around, and then you jump over and they have to go back around. And as long as you don't walk, or sorry, if you don't run and just jump in between when you need to, you can usually do some justice. On top of that, no offensive actions such as throwing bottles, throwing hatchets, using chainsaws. It also takes away Bloodlust. Being stunned by a pallet takes away a little bit of Bloodlust, and breaking a pallet takes away all of Bloodlust. And it's 45 seconds to get to tier 3, which tier 3 gives you an insane boost, and that can be a bit daunting. But what survivor gets caught by Bloodlust 3 so often that it's a problem that it needs to be nerfed, when it exists there to stop a problem that killers have to face, which on a lot of these maps there are a couple of windows to a couple of buildings that lead to a couple of extremely long loops, which lead you to get looped 3 times in a row and require Bloodlust 3 to get the kill. Honestly, at that point, the killer should be able to get a hit. If something causes the chase to have unbroken line of sight with no pallets and the killer can't make any offensive actions against you, I think the killer in 45 seconds should have the speed to catch you, because something right there is wrong. Either you're performing an infinite loop, or the killer really needs some help, and give them some help, please, because I don't even know how that could happen for 45 seconds, to be honest. So with how I feel about it is just, why touch Bloodlust? Just remove it if you think it's too powerful. If it's there to stop loops, but you're going to weaken it so it doesn't exactly stop those loops, then what's the point? If it's unfun for survivors, I don't understand. So those are my feelings, really. The buffs that are incoming are just weird. It's so odd that we had such a good wave of patch, now it's going back to crap. All the perk changes were fantastic. They were so wonderful. I loved them. The Hag, the Trapper, great patch. And then it's like, well, let's just, we buffed 2 killers, let's nerf all killers. Which again, Bloodlust isn't a big thing for me because I'm not going to notice it because I don't use it. But, I mean, I assume someone out there does, so that sucks to be them. But the palette changes are going to suck. And you know what? That's fine. I got Death Garden until they fix this game. Death Garden's a fantastic game. They've just actually finished doing a little balance hotfix on that game because one of their things is a little broken. But the game just came out today, and so you guys can play it. It's free to try now for 1 week. Try Death Garden out. I have videos on it if you need help. If you think that game's not fun for you, tell me why. I mean, I'd love to help you guys out. To me, I love both these games very much. Death Garden is currently taking over my love because in that game, the actions I take feel like they make an impact versus this game, which not so much. At least that game doesn't end in 3 minutes. So I do have some fun playing Dead by Daylight, and I want to expand in Dead by Daylight in terms of like having new mechanics that are really fun. I hope they come out with something more for survivors to do, because doing generators is not a problem for me, but it's all I do is hit M1, win the game, and move on. Rank reset came, I'm already rank 9. It's silly. It's silly, I shouldn't be rank 9. But oh well. It is what it is. So I want to thank you all for watching. I know this is a short video, and I know I may not have covered everything you wanted. If there's a topic you need me to cover, please list it in the description down below. If you tried out Death Garden and you like it, let me know in the comments down below. We can play together sometime. I'll be playing it all week on stream. I'll also be playing a little bit of Dead by Daylight, and we're finally jumping back to Identity 5. I know I stayed away from that game for a little bit, but it's just because I've been a little busy. And that's about it, so there's not much else to talk about. Thank you all for watching. We'll see what more the devs have to say this week on Thursday. They usually come out with something new. I'll be there to give you any of the news that comes out, and hopefully it's not the patch, because I really will not enjoy Killer if stuns are going to be coming that much sooner. It just means I need to get Enduring on all my killers, and that's a grind in and of itself. Thank you all, and as always, good game.